Tony Stewart, a name synonymous with racing excellence, recently sat down for an interview on cars and culture with Jason Stein, where he unveiled some surprising revelations about his relationship with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Known for his diverse racing career spanning from IndyCar to NASCAR, and now venturing into NHRA drag racing, Stewart's insights offer a unique perspective on the challenges faced by even the most accomplished drivers. Stewart's racing journey is nothing short of extraordinary. He's not just a NASCAR star, he's a true motorsports polymath. From the high-speed ovals of IndyCar to the gritty dirt tracks of midget car racing, Stewart has proven his mettle across various disciplines. His latest endeavor in NHRA drag racing further cements his status as one of the most versatile drivers in the sport's history. When discussing his favorite tracks, Stewart's choices might surprise some fans. While many would expect Indianapolis Motor Speedway to top his list given his Indiana roots, Stewart's affections lie elsewhere. Eldora Speedway, a track he owns, holds a special place in his heart. Stewart describes it as continually challenging and exhilarating, showcasing his passion for the dirt oval he's cultivated over the years. But Eldora isn't the only track that captured Stewart's interest. He also expressed fondness for Houston Speedway and Oswego Speedway, a Canadian dirt track. These choices reflect Stewart's diverse racing background and his appreciation for tracks that offer unique challenges. In the NASCAR realm, Stewart singled out Richmond and Sonoma as his favorites, highlighting his skill on both short tracks and road courses. However, it's Stewart's relationship with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway that truly captures attention. Despite his impressive achievements, including being a 49-time NASCAR Cup Series race winner and a 3-time IndyCar Series winner, Stewart's feelings about Indy are complex and at times contradictory. In an outspoken moment during the interview, Stewart revealed,
Indy for me was kind of a love-hate because I probably put more pressure on myself every time we raced at Indy than any other racetrack in the world that I've ever been to and raced at. I mean, I was more nervous the week of that event than I would be going into any other event.
This statement offers a glimpse into the immense pressure and challenges that even seasoned veterans face at one of racing's most iconic venues. Stewart elaborated further, saying,
Indy for me was kind of a love-hate because I probably put more pressure on myself every time we raced at Indy than any other racetrack in the world that I've ever been to and raced at. I mean, I was more nervous the week of that event than I would be going into any other event.
This admission from a 3-time NASCAR Cup Series champion underscores the unique mental challenge that Indianapolis presents to drivers, especially those with deep connections to the track. The pressure Stewart felt at Indianapolis is particularly noteworthy given his limited participation in the Indy 500. Despite being an Indiana native and a celebrated NASCAR champion, Stewart's Indy 500 career consists of just 5 starts. Interestingly, only 2 of these attempts came after his transition to NASCAR, highlighting the challenges of balancing commitments across different racing series. Stewart's double-duty attempts, racing in both the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day, are legendary in motorsports circles. These Herculean efforts showcase not only his skill but also his endurance and determination. In his quad attempts at the double, Stewart nearly went the full distance, missing only 4 laps in total while securing top 10 finishes in each event. The year 1999 stands out as particularly remarkable in Stewart's career. He etched his name in the history books by becoming the first driver to complete all 600 laps in a single day across both the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. At the Indy 500, Stewart crossed the finish line in 9th place, completing 196 of the 200 laps for TriStar Motorsports. Following this impressive performance, he then tackled NASCAR's Coca-Cola 600, finishing in 4th place in his debut at the event. This double-duty performance is a shining example of Stewart's versatility and determination as a racer. Stewart's prowess wasn't limited to a single year. In 2001, he once again took on the challenge of the double. Driving one of Chip Ganassi's open-wheel cars, Stewart secured a 6th place finish at the Indy 500, remaining on the lead lap throughout the race. Later that same day, he piloted his iconic number 20 Joe Gibbs Racing Pontiac to a third-place finish at the Coca-Cola 600. These performances further solidified Stewart's reputation as one of the most skilled and versatile drivers of his generation. Looking at Stewart's overall career achievements, the numbers speak for themselves. With 49 NASCAR Cup Series wins, 3 IndyCar Series victories, and 3 NASCAR Cup Series championships, Stewart's resume is the envy of many in the racing world. His success across multiple disciplines of motorsport sets him apart from many of his contemporaries. However, Stewart's impact on racing extends beyond his time behind the wheel. As a team owner, he's gained a unique perspective on the sport, and he hasn't shied away from sharing his thoughts on the current state of NASCAR. When asked about the changes in NASCAR over the years, Stewart provided a candid assessment, focusing particularly on leadership. He stated,
"Leadership more than anything. I mean, I had the privilege of coming in when Bill France Jr. was there, and Bill was a very unique character and a very, very great leader for our sport. But I think a support system that he had, I think his number one support system was Mike Helton. And that is the one person beyond a shadow of a doubt that's still left that I have the utmost respect for is Mike."
Stewart went on to praise Mike Helton, saying,
"We lost Jim Hunter, and Jim was somebody in the media that absolutely had a great way of explaining to drivers, just like Mike Helton did, of why things are done the way they are and how it all fits in the big picture."
This acknowledgement highlights the impact that strong leadership can have on drivers and the sport as a whole. However, Stewart's views on the current NASCAR leadership are less positive. He observed,
the direction it's going, I say this from a standpoint, I've been an owner in the sport, I've been a driver in the sport, but I'm still a fan of the sport too. 98% of the race fans have no clue.
This critique of the current leadership structure in NASCAR provides insight into the challenges facing the sport from an insider's perspective. Stewart's comments suggest a shift in the organizational culture that he finds concerning. Stewart also didn't mince words when discussing the charter agreements in NASCAR, calling them a joke. This blunt assessment of a key component of NASCAR's business model indicates Stewart's frustration with certain aspects of how the sport is currently managed. These frustrations seem to have played a role in Stewart's decision to close Stewart-Haas Racing at the end of the 2024 season. This marks the end of a significant 16-year chapter in Stewart's life, and it's clear that the decision carries emotional weight for him. Reflecting on his last day at the SHR shop, Stewart shared,
"I spent the whole next day at SHR. It was my last day at SHR at the building, and I stayed probably an hour after employees were gone and just walked around and looked around and remembered back to what it was like the first day I walked in that building. And then thinking about 16 years later and looking at it and looking what we built and what we were able, and looking at the banners hanging from the ceiling, which were pole position qualifying and race wins and the 2 championship banners, and thinking about what all we did as an organization to take."
This poignant description offers a glimpse into the emotional impact of stepping away from a team he built from the ground up. Stewart's pride in the accomplishments of SHR is evident, making the decision to close the team all the more significant. As Stewart closes this chapter of his racing career, he's preparing to embark on a new adventure, fatherhood. When asked about his readiness for this new role, Stewart responded with his characteristic humor and honesty. He said,
"Trying to get stuff done on the racetrack in the meantime and staying out of her way."
You ready for this?
A little too late, isn't it, to say no?
Stewart went on to draw a parallel between racing and parenting, saying,
"What you don't know about, and I definitely don't know anything about a child. I can go get in just about any race car in the world, and I can have the basics of it probably pretty quick, and at least have some idea what I'm doing the first time I buckle in. You learn the rest as you go. This is no different, other than I know nothing getting into this. I don't even know how to climb in the car, don't know how to put seatbelts on when it comes to having a kid. So this is going to be a new experience, but it's the same for Leah too.
This admission of uncertainty from a man who's faced down some of the toughest challenges in motorsports humanizes Stewart and shows a more vulnerable side to the tough racer persona he's known for. While Stewart may be stepping away from NASCAR team ownership, he's far from done with racing. He continues to own Eldora Speedway and has been exploring new challenges in NHRA drag racing. When asked about his first experience in a dragster, Stewart provided a vivid description of the intensity of the experience. Stewart recounted,
60 feet in a race car, you're running 100 miles an hour already. I mean, that is insane. But I think the first thing that I noticed is wherever that car was out on the racetrack, my mind was a couple hundred feet behind that.
This account offers insight into the unique challenges of drag racing, even for a driver of Stewart's caliber. Stewart's career has been marked by his ability to adapt to different racing disciplines, and his venture into drag racing is just the latest example of his versatility. His willingness to put himself in uncomfortable situations and take on new challenges is a key part of what has made him such a successful and respected figure in motorsports. Throughout the interview, Stewart also touched on some of the memorable rivalries and relationships he's had in his racing career. One name that stood out was Kenny Irwin Jr., Stewart recalled.
Kenny Irwin Jr. Like I said, Kenny and I started racing midgets against each other at the Speedrome in 1991, and both worked our way into all three national USAC series together. Both went to NASCAR almost at the same time, within a year or two of each other.
Stewart elaborated on his relationship with Irwin, saying,
but the one thing that I can tell you about Kenny is Kenny made me a better race car driver. There were times we were bitter enemies, and there were times at the track that we were friends and hung out after the races together.
This reflection offers a glimpse into the complex relationships that develop between competitors in the high-stakes world of professional racing. The interview also touched on some of Stewart's more unusual racing experiences. He revealed,
I kind of joked around. I mean, most people don't even know. I drove a monster truck one night at Talladega. They had four of us run there. I actually broke my back that night, and that was 6 races from the end of the season. And I finished the season that year with a broken back and didn't know it until I finally went back to Indy around holidays and went and saw Dr. Trammell. I said, "Hey, my back is killing me," and I said, "I'm eating aspirin like they're coming out of a Pez dispenser."
Stewart also shared his experience of driving a Formula One car, an opportunity he had thanks to a car swap with Lewis Hamilton. Stewart noted,
"But it was a really cool 4 laps."
How was that? How did it feel?
The most impressive thing to me that I didn't count on was...
He went on to explain how this superior braking ability contributes to the intense racing and occasional collisions seen in Formula One, offering fans a unique insight into the differences between various forms of motorsport. As the interview wound down, Stewart reflected on what he considers the most satisfying moment of his career.
I think there's a ton of moments that should be in consideration for this and that are in my mind. The one that just stands a little bit above the rest of them, for obvious reasons, is that championship run at Homestead in 2011. To win the first championship for SHR and to be the last owner-driver to win a championship since Alan Quickie, and in the dramatic fashion that it happened. I mean, if people go back and they watch that entire race and all the drama that happened during that.
This moment, winning a championship as both an owner and a driver, clearly holds a special place in Stewart's heart. It represents the culmination of his skills both on and off the track, and stands as a testament to his impact on the sport of NASCAR. Throughout the interview, Stewart's love for racing in all its forms shines through. Despite the challenges, the pressures, and the occasional frustrations, it's clear that racing remains a fundamental part of who Tony Stewart is. His reflections on his struggles at Indianapolis, his achievements across multiple racing disciplines, and his thoughts on the current state of NASCAR provide a comprehensive look at the career of one of motorsports' most versatile and outspoken figures. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on upcoming content.